Okay, right. Mim is now the host. So when you're ready.
Thank you. Councillors, could I just ask that everybody mutes unless they wish to speak? Thank you. Right, good evening, councillors, and welcome to this meeting of the Planning Committee. There are no members of the public present tonight, so we can just take it in the running order as is. And just to mention, I'm assuming everybody else had the same problem that I had, that it was not possible to get into St Albans planning portal to look up any planning applications. So we just have to live with that. On the agenda, apologies for absence, Mim. Well, obviously we haven't got any because everybody's here.
Yes, no, none have been received. Thank
you. Do we have any declarations of interest? No, thank you.
You needing to declare the interest in relation to the discussion for the
yes, so I do. You reminded me. Thank you. I'd completely forgotten. Thank you. I've forgotten. I need to declare a personal non-pecuniary interest for reasons of transparency when we come to discuss the response on the questions we've been asked on the public halls.
Chair, I think I should do the same. Personal non-pecuniary interest as a member of, as a district councillor.
Yes, I did as a district councillor, which means it's non-pecuniary, so I can continue to chair and we can speak. John, did you want to declare?
It's a question on the technicality. On page 47, there's an application by Karen Poor in relation to some tree work, presumably for Harpenden Town Council. I just wondered if we had to, I mean, it's only for noting anyway, but I just wondered whether technically we had an interest in that.
No, because if we don't, as a committee, actually pass comment on it, we purely note the, we don't pass any judgment on those.
Okay.
Thank you. Right, moving on to item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of October. Are members happy that I sign that as a true record of the meeting? Okay, then moving on to item 4. Are there any questions from the public in accordance with standing orders?
No, none have been received, Chair.
Thank you. And item 5, have any letters of objection been received?
No, none since the issue of the agenda.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to the main body of the work, starting at page 15, which is for the applications registered week ending of the 2nd October, week ending 9th of October, and week ending 16th of October. And we'll just run through them straight in order as there's nobody else present. Okay, so if we start with 5, 2020, 2029, 21 Langdale Avenue.
Okay, so I believe actually, Mim, that I have got some pictures for Langdale Avenue.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're able, Mim, to show them actually as a
slideshow.
Yes.
Yes. So I don't know.
It's just so that it's no, cancel that. I think it's actually where it says from current slide, top left hand corner, where it says from then beginning from current slide. That's it. Just makes it much larger so that that those of councillors who are using a smaller tablet are able to see it. Okay, so 21 Langdale Avenue. The proposal differs little in the main from the previous application, which was approved, apart from a slight reduction of the 2 metres in depth of the single story element to the side of number 22 Langdale Avenue. I do not feel that the main objections by the committee have been addressed. Therefore, I have suggested consider express concern that the committee's concerns from the previously refused application have not been fully addressed. Policies ESD1 and ESD2 of the HNP refer, and policies 40, 69 and 72 of the district plan refer.
Thank you.
So you can see here sort of where I've highlighted that this one is the refused application. So this shows that the depth of the rear extension goes back 4 metres, and then the next slide shows where they have actually just reduced it. Actually tell a lie, it was 6 metres and it's been reduced down to the 4 metres. That is the only change. So as far as I can see, that our concerns are still very much there in a sense.
Thank you. Right, councillors, do I have any comments? No. Oh, yeah, Nigel.
I was waiting to see if anyone else commented. I actually went and looked at this one from the road, and yeah, it's marginal. Having looked at the back gardens and all the rest, yeah, it's even if we objected to this, and I'm not saying we shouldn't express our reservations, I suspect this one might well get through when you see some of the other things that have been built in that street. But anyway, that's my only comment.
Yes.
I mean, I support the officer's comments.
Yes.
But I suspect it's one that might eventually squeeze through this.
Yes, I mean, one can see other ones in the street. I mean, well, as you know, within planning, any application stands on its own merits. Anything else that's happened nearby is not part of it. But I mean, I'm happy to go with the recommendation that we express concern that the previous reasons for refusal have not been fully addressed. People are happy to go with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
2020-1890 was 309 Luton Road that does not meet criteria for consideration by the committee, and the same applies to 5-2020-25-4, 5-2020-208 and 208-4. Then the next one we need to look at is 5-2020-1638 at Anvil House High Street.
Okay, there are some images for them to show.
There we go. So,
That's it.
oh, have I gone too far?
Oh,
Is this the one?
yeah, that's it. No,
Yes.
that's so I think you need to go back one, Mim. That's it. So
Yes, that's it.
yeah, so this is the I suppose the block, the set of flats which are above these shops just at the end of the high streets or just at the end of Bowers Way. They are essentially looking to replace the open railing style balustrades to the frontage facing the high street with glass panel style infills. So Mim, if you can just flick on through, so that's the existing open railing style, and they're looking to replace it with this glass panel sort of kind of system. They're also making improvements to the external walkways. So if Mim, if you can just click back one.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So you can see here that there's sort of this block paving arrangement that they're looking to make some improvements to in addition. So the rear element is remaining exactly the same. So they're just looking to change this frontage. And yeah, I've said no objection, as I see this as being an improvement to the street scene.
Yes, I certainly agree that looks an improvement. Are we all happy on that one? No objection. I think it certainly will look better.
That's unanimous.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. 5-2020-2058 at 9 Churchfield.
Okay, so we've got some images to share with this one as well. So this application was previously refused. So my notes are that the only change to the previously refused scheme is a change to a section of roof form to be flat roof, which has been amended to afford number 7 Churchfield the right to light sight line, which is basically a line or a quote that I've taken from the application wording. No other changes. I have questioned whether or not enough has been done to address the committee's previous concerns. Therefore, I've said consider express concern, not enough has been done to address the committee's concerns relating to the previously refused scheme. So you can see all that they are changing is the roof form, the top of this roof form, from being a point to being flat. And that is the only change that they are making to this application.
I can't see it's a lot lower.
It's not a lot. There is no real change in height, to be honest. They've lost probably ½ a metre from the tip.
Yes. Okay. Councillors, any comments? I mean, the only comment I would make, and I'd be interested in your comments, is if we feel they've not done enough to address the previous reasons for refusal, I would have thought we ought to refuse rather than express concern.
Okay, just that we said express concern last time.
Oh, did we?
But yes, we did. That's okay. Just that.
Oh, well, no, if we said express concern last time, I suppose we ought to go with the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, is that okay?
Is that okay with everyone?
agreed.
Yep,
Thank
that's
you.
unanimous.
5/2020-2096 at 47 Applands Close does not meet the criteria for consideration. Then moving on to 5/2020-110, which is 6 Salisbury Avenue.
Okay, there's some images to share with this one. Okay, so the site, as you can see here from the pictures, is down an access road off of Salisbury Avenue, and is bordered on all sides by residential gardens. So if you flick through to the next image, Mim, you can just see here, it's a pretty long access road that goes down between the two sort of large houses on Salisbury Avenue to this already flat roof bungalow, essentially a sort of a very long sweeping bungalow. The property is single storey with a slope away to the rear and to the side. The ridge height is to be increased by 200 millimetres. There's ample parking with the addition of the replacement garage and 3 parking spaces. The site is very secluded and believe will not impact on any surrounding properties. The site is in the conservation area but not locally listed. Consider no objection.
Thank you. Do I have any comments, councillors? No, I can't see it's going to affect anybody. No. So can we just show that we're all happy to go with no objection?
That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay.
5/2020-1858 at 6 Stewart Road.
Okay, so there's some images again to share for this one. Okay, so number 6 Stewart Road. The existing dwelling is smaller than the neighbouring properties. Permission was granted in 2017 for extensions to the side and the rear. And I believe, if you just click forward, I believe that I have actually included those. So click forward again. Yeah,
This
so
one?
yeah, so this was so this is the previously approved scheme, which was it was granted in 2017 for extensions to the side and the rear, although not to the scale of this particular proposal. There is the addition of a small basement and roof accommodation. The ridge height is increasing by 200 millimetres and the roof form is changing from a cat slide, as it currently is, to a hipped stroke crown style. So if you click forward, and again, yeah. So you can see here that this is what they are proposing to replace. So click back twice again, Mim, just so that the members can see what was originally sort of approved.
Yeah.
And then click forward again. Yeah. And then this is what
Yes,
they're
it's
actually asking
quite a
for
lot
on this
bigger.
occasion. So I've said here that so the roof form is changing from a cat slide to a hipped crown style, therefore causing possible impact on the neighbours. So wraparound footprint is increasing by quite a bit from the existing. So based on the size and the scale of the neighbouring properties, feel the property could fit in with the street scene, although unsure of possible impact on the neighbouring properties. 4 bedrooms detailed on the plans, although there is potential for 5 bedrooms proposed. They've been very sort of careful or very sort of creative in the sort of the naming of the rooms on the plans. 3 allocated parking spaces. So I've said consider express concern that the proposal could lead to a loss of amenity to the neighbouring properties, and there's insufficient parking provision for the proposed bedroom number. And then I have the relevant policies quoted.
Thank you. Councillors, can I have any comments? Thank you. Nigel, I think you had your hand up first.
Yes, I actually, again, have looked at this one, but are we able to see the block plan? If you look at the block plan that is attached to the planning application, to me, it seems to dominate the site, and you really can see the way the block plan dominates the adjoining buildings.
We got that here.
I don't know whether or not, Mim, can you see whether or not it's a part of the PowerPoint presentation? I know some of them I have done block plans, but I'm not sure if I've done it particularly for this one. Click forward again.
Oh,
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I
It
might
is-
have
let
done.
me-
Yeah.
Yes, it's very, very dominant.
Oh, hang on, where have we
Yes.
gone? There we are.
There you are. It is
Yes,
very dominant.
You can see here the outline of the red, which is the existing footprints, and then you have the new
Yes.
overlaid. I think one of the main issues that I had was the style of the roof form as it currently is, and how it's changing quite dramatically.
Yes.
Well, you also may recall last time I actually commented on these roof styles, which do tend to create a top-heavy looking building with a very dominant roof. And I think that is accentuated in this case. So I'm not in favour of this, I must admit.
No, I'm not. It's very, very well, it's very dominant in comparison with surrounding properties and the street scene. Paul, you wanted to comment? Paul, well, both Pauls. I think Paul Cousin was first, and then
Sure.
Paul de Court. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to check this. Am I correct in thinking this is a conservation area?
It's not actually.
No?
No,
Okay.
no, it's not. It's borders, but it
It's
isn't.
borders, but
yeah,
it's not
it
actually
doesn't.
in it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
not quite.
Okay, Paul, other Paul.
Well, my comment just builds on what we've heard from Councillor Turnbull. I had a look at it too, and it's already a pretty tall structure,
Yes, it is.
although much smaller. Taller, I would have said, than either side, and they aren't bungalows. So you're adding 20 centimetres on top of
Yeah.
that, along with the other aspects of the breadth of it as well as the height. That, yeah, I would agree about expressing concern. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this got through, like the comment on the previous one. But I think there's enough there for me to express concern.
Yes. Are we happy to express concern, or do we prefer to go with refuse? Pip, did you want to speak?
I just wanted to query about the parking. Does that lead to a refusal if there's not enough parking spaces?
Well, it's difficult because as the plans stand, there sort of are. It's a bit of a grey area on this one. Because for the number of bedrooms that they have on their plan, they technically have got enough parking spaces. It's how they use it. So that's always slightly tricky when you get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could certainly, however, I think we could certainly express concern that there could be a parking issue rather than, I don't think we can refuse on it when technically there is enough parking.
Councillor Cowley would like to speak.
Sorry,
Chair.
Matt.
Sorry, Rosemary, you preempted exactly what I was about to say by saying perhaps the language should be could be rather than would be, if you get what I mean.
Yes. So, right, are we happy to express concern, or would we prefer to go down the route of refuse? Which, I mean, I think it's very, very overbearing for the site compared with the other buildings on either side. So, which let's take a view on this. Who would go for refuse? Nigel and Pip. And then who would go for express concern? So, okay, so I think we'll go for express concern. I think that's the majority. So we'll express concern.
Okay, are you happy with the wording that I put in the agenda, or would you like to elaborate at all?
I think I'd put something, could we add some words in to, I think, I'm not sure, I think I would perhaps take out the bit about, based on the size and scale of neighbouring properties, feel the property could fit in within the street scene.
That's, sorry, my recommendation actually starts with, it says, express concern that the proposal could lead to a loss of amenity to neighbouring properties and insufficient parking provision for the proposed bedroom number. So the bit above was obviously my observations as opposed to what my recommendation was going to be.
So should we have something in about?
I think, yes, I think I'd put something in about, yes, could you
Okay.
put something in about over dominant?
Yeah.
As well as potential effect on neighbouring properties.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
That's fine, yeah. I should
Okay.
add that.
Sorry, Matthew, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just with before the words insufficient parking provision, can we add the words potential for?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes.
That's fine.
Because it just flags up. Okay, thank you. Right. 5/2020-2036 does not meet criteria for consideration. The same applies to 2020-2129, 2020-1770, and 2020-1950. Then we'll move on to 5/2020-1618 at flat 4 Welcome House. And in fact, could we take flat 4? Could we take item 1618 and 1662 together, actually, because they're both in respect to the flat 4, if councillors are happy to do that.
Okay, so Mim, I think we have got an image. Okay, so this proposal is for a small single air conditioning condenser unit to be sited on the building's flat roof, concealed by the pitched roof element of the roof form. Okay, so you can see here, sort of just kind of in my little red box, the location of where the proposed air conditioning condenser unit is going to be sort of positioned. I believe if you click forward again, Mim, that there is obviously, okay, no, that's fine. I haven't included it. So the roof form of Welcome House is where this is to be positioned is a lot lower than the actual roof form. It's got a sort of a pitched roof that goes the whole around the whole outside section. So this condenser will actually not be visible at all. So I've said here that neighbouring residential properties are a good distance away. There is a presumption that the building's previous use as a hotel would have had an element of air conditioning, so precedence has already been set. The building is locally listed and located in the conservation area, and I have said consider no objection.
Okay, does anybody have any comments? Yep. Okay, Paul, then Nigel.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I mean, it's obviously, I presume this is the apartments, the old hotel, the period
Yes.
of it. I guess I would just want to be doubly sure that it isn't visible from, I don't know, anywhere.
It's not, no.
But I guess if it's not visible from anywhere and it's not going to, the noise isn't going to impact on anyone, then we haven't really got that much, I guess, to complain about.
I didn't, let me just see, I didn't include the image to show, but it's not, I probably didn't include it because there was nothing to show. You can't see it. It is a very small condenser unit. It's not of the same sort of scale that we were looking at for Eastmoor Lodge, which was a much more larger scale sort of unit attached to the side of the property. Yeah, I mean, I'm just sort of leafing through here to see whether or not I can actually show you, but there wasn't anything to show, unfortunately, because it wasn't visible. Yeah, no, it's not visible.
Yes. Nigel, did you want to comment?
Yeah, my only comment, I'd actually, my point was the noise. I'd actually say no objections, subject to being happy there's no noise and nuisance to any adjoining properties. So that puts the onus on anyone objecting.
Yes.
Can obviously then get it removed.
Yes.
If
Well, we could always put in the word subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties. Matthew?
I think that's largely covered what I was going to ask, but I was just wanted to ask, do we know that it's on top of flat 4, or will it be on the roof of a different flat? Because I can imagine if it's on top of flat 4, I can't imagine it'll have much impact on anyone else, but if it's on someone else's roof, it might do.
It is, yeah, no, it's above flat 4. It is, yeah, it's over the footprint of where flat 4 is.
Okay, so are we happy to go with no objection, subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties?
Yep, that's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay.
5/2020-1898 does not meet criteria for consideration. 5/2020-2115 at 15 Townsend Road.
Okay, so I think I've got some images for this one as well. Okay, so this one, so this has already had permission granted a short time ago. So this was granted for extensions to the property, although more substantial to the front and only at ground floor level. This proposal essentially looks to only extend the gym elevation marginally forward and to add a first floor element above. No increase in bedrooms, just size, parking for 3 cars, consider no objection. So you can see here the previously approved, sort of in the much more sort of bold blacker lines of where the extension was due to be. And now you can see here the proposed, where they're just looking to extend out marginally the gym by 1 metre. And then I don't know whether or not,
Oh, sorry. No.
yeah, let me just move that. If I move that over there, and then you can see here that they're proposing to build a bedroom above the small extension to the gym. So if you flick back 1, Mim, you can see where it differs from the originally approved application.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, any comments? No, it looks okay. Oh, Paul, cousin.
Thank you, Chair. Well, it partly depends on the exact, what I'm about to say is the exact situation and how characterful the road is, because I think it maybe looks slightly odd projecting out like that. But I mean, it's not, I don't feel that strongly about it. Yeah, it's more like if there's a really characterful road and nothing else is projected out, it's almost like building well in front of the building line. But
Mim, are you able to just go on Google Street View to it? They're from memory, they're actually set back quite a long way.
Yes, I think it's quite a long way back from what I can remember of Townsend Road.
okay. I mean, if everyone's happy, I'm happy.
We'll just show you sort of the street view so that you can get an idea.
Right.
Okay, yeah, so if you click, just swivel round to the left, Mim. I believe it's that house there. Yes, so it's that one there with the block paving.
Oh, this one here.
That's it, yeah. It's
This
that,
one here.
yeah, it's that house there.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, are we all happy to go with no objection? Thank you.
Yep, that's unanimous.
Okay.
Right, then moving on to 5/2020 2141 at 20 Sun Lane.
Okay, Mim, there's some images for this one as well.
Okay. Where are we? Mhm.
Okay, so you can see here sort of where X marks the spot, which is where the proposed garage site is going to be. And then if you just click forward again one Mim, then you can see here sort of twisting round that where the proposed extension is going to go on the back of the quite substantial house. So the proposed single-storey extension is to the rear of this large property on a large plot away from the neighbouring properties. The site backs onto the train line, therefore there's no impact on anyone from that. Proposed attached garages at the end of a private access road from Bowers Way for Sun Lane residents to the rear of their properties. Sits against the train line boundary again, not overly large or high, and fits the plot. No tree works are proposed, but tree protection fencing is proposed around the construction sites. Locally listed building in the conservation area. Consider no objection.
Looks okay to me. Does anybody want to comment, or are we all happy with no objection? Okay.
That's unanimous, Hev.
Okay, thank you.
5/2020/2150 at 7 Aplin's Close.
Okay, so I think that there's some images to share with this one again.
Oh, I've lost it. There we are.
That's unusual, finding a reduction, not an increase.
It is. Okay, so this one here that you can see is the actual approved scheme, where the so the proposals for reduction in size of the 2-storey rear extension from the approved scheme to only extend half the width of the property instead of fully across. This is in fact more agreeable to the neighbouring property as it reduces any possible impact. So if you flick forward again, Mim, you can see where essentially the back section is reducing by almost half.
A
So
big
where
reduction.
yeah, so quite a big reduction. So just
Yeah.
flick forward again, Mim.
Oh,
Sorry, yeah, back, just flick forward one, or back one. Yeah, so you can see here that you've got the extension where there's sort of the kitchen with the sitting room, and then you've got bedroom 2 and bedroom 1 upstairs. And then just flick forward again, Mim. And you can see here where it's reducing downstairs and also the loss of the extension to bedroom 2. So
Okay.
it's a much smaller scheme.
Yes. Don't think there's anything to object to, is there? Everybody happy to go with no objection?
unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay.
5/2020/2098 at 4 Carrisbrook Road does not meet criteria for our consideration. Similarly for 5/2020/2002. 5/2020/2167 at 9 Lambourne Gardens.
Okay, so I think I've got some images for this one again. Okay, so the proposal is to extend bedroom 2 forward at first floor level by 2 metres. The proposal is in line with the building line of number 11 Lambourne Gardens, should not cause any impact on them. So if you just flick forward, Mim, again, you can see here where they're looking to essentially extend forward over the garage, sort of the garage roof overhang. They're looking to extend bedroom 2.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mim.
Thank you. Any comments? Are we all happy to go with the recommendation of no objection? Oh, Nigel, were you commenting or saying no objection?
No objection, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's unanimous.
And now 5/2020/2177 does not meet the criteria for our consideration. And then 5/2020/1955 plot 2 at South Home Road, Redbourne Lane, Hatching Green.
Okay, I think I've got some images here, Mim.
Okay.
Again for this one. So I think we've looked at a few of the different plots on this location where Jarvis have come back with some sort of refreshed schemes. Oh no, I haven't.
I haven't, no.
No. I think that there was the drawings were so vast, there were so many, I didn't actually include it. So this proposal differs little from the approved scheme. The changes are just there's a reduction in size of the basement. Second floor is increasing to fill the footprint of the first floor, and the footprint of the property is increasing by 1 metre in depth and width. Visually, the house is not really changing apart from the introduction of a first floor element above the kitchen. Consider no objection.
Any comment? No, it looked okay to me. So are we all happy to go with no objection?
Okay. I think Jarvis sort of they tweak things potentially based on who it is that's going to buy it. You know, if somebody
Yes,
comes
they do,
forward and,
because they tend to have, because they're local and they're not a national one. People often come in and ask for a smallish change. Yes. 5/20/20/2168 is 14 Ambrose Lane.
Okay, I know we have got those images because they popped up a moment ago. Okay, so this house, that's it, yep. So this house is set sort of kind of at the end of this cul-de-sac with the neighbour to the right at a sort of a very jaunty angle in comparison to them. So the proposal is to marginally increase the front ground floor elements by approximately 1.5 metres, convert the garage and store to be a playroom, extend the bedroom at the first floor level by 1.5 metres over the lounge extension. The rear extension is converting the conservatory into a brick-built building and building over the existing ground floor element. Rear extension has been stepped into the side of number 16 Ambrose Lane to reduce the impact. Number 12 Ambrose Lane is set on an angle, so impact is reduced. Loss of garage, but 3 parking spaces are being retained on the driveway. No tree where it's proposed, consider no objection. If you flick forward, Mim, I think I have actually got the drawings for this. So you can see here, yes, you've got the X, the red X, which shows this, the development site. And then this here is the existing, where you can see that there's the store at the ground floor level builds along the boundary line already, and then a standard sort of upstairs. And then you can see here how they're looking to change the layout of downstairs and extend marginally forward for the lounge and also for the playroom. And then they're building over the bedroom 3 at the front to match the lounge, and then building over the back for the family room.
Thank you. Okay, any comments? Oh, Paul, you're muted.
Sorry. So as you looked at the picture of the house, you know, the photograph, obviously there is a house to the right,
Yep.
which pretty much looks directly at the property, doesn't it? You know, they'll sit in their front room looking straight over the side. So they will definitely be looking at more bulk now because they're looking directly at the side. I'm not saying we shouldn't be happy with it, but you know, whereas yeah, they're definitely looking at more bulk because it's right at the angles. That's the only thing I noticed.
Did you want to share the angles again, Mim, just so that we can
Just
look?
show the picture.
Yeah.
You want me to go backwards?
Yeah, so go back to the one.
First one.
So there's
First
that
one.
one there.
Yeah.
So there's, yeah.
Yeah, so the house on the right, you know, their bedroom, their front living room, looks at exactly on this extension, doesn't it? So I don't know, does it have, for example, any windows down the right-hand side? Because they're going to be looking straight into their bedroom.
Click again forward,
Can you-
Mim, so that we can
so
see
you
the
can
next.
see-
Yeah, so you can see
Yeah.
here.
So they're looking.
Yeah, so they're looking, yeah. So you can see that sort of kind of the where your cursor is at the moment is the playroom sort of kind of garage that goes along the boundary.
Can we have a look at are there any windows then facing on that, on this wall where your cursor is? Are there any windows there of the extension of the applicant's house?
Click forward again, Mim. So that's existing. Click forward again. No,
You can't see the first floor.
Yeah, no. Right, hang on a moment. I'll consult my drawings. No. No, there's no windows on that side at all. There's only windows to the front and the back and to the opposite side.
Okay, Nigel, did you want to comment?
They're not
Thanks,
actually,
Chair. Mr. Chair. My comments were, I mean, I was a bit ambivalent over this one. Looking at the plans looked okay. But when you see the pictures, my reaction is it's a bit of a mess. But I know we can't get to it as a mess. But it does seem to dominate the two properties either side. It is moving the whole front of the building forward quite a bit, is it not?
they're not extending further forward. They're building. Extending not to the side of the property that's on an angle. They're extending to the opposite side.
Yeah. So they're still extending it forward, aren't they?
Not to the side of the property that we're concerned about.
The left-hand side, aren't they bringing that forward?
The left-hand side, they are bringing it marginally forward, yes.
Yeah.
Not to the side that Councillor Cousin was concerned with.
Yeah. To me, it's just a little bit dominant. It's my own slight observation.
Okay.
I think if I were the neighbours, I might be sort of raising my eyebrows. But I know that cul-de-sac, and I think it's going to be a bit of an eyesore when they're finished all that in relation to what else has been done in that cul-de-sac. But it's a personal observation. I'm not.
Matthew, did you want to comment?
Yeah, just to say, I mean, I had a few concerns that this might possibly be a slight overdevelopment, but I think broadly the comments made by Nigel and Paul could be covered off by no objection, subject to no loss of amenity to the neighbour's property.
Yes, I was going to make the same suggestion because I think it would be, I don't know, Paul Cousin, your view, but my view is, I mean, if it went to planning, I think it would be pretty marginal that it wouldn't. I think it would get through probably. I don't know, but I would suggest that we go with no objection, subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with that. I mean, it's quite unusual to my mind to have two properties quite so close at that angle. So you from all your views from the front of the house, but
it's not. It is, but if you walk around Harpenden, there are of houses effectively at right angles to one another.
Yeah.
So I think, are we happy to go with subject to no loss of amenity?
Yeah.
Okay. 5/2020-2170 10 Alders End Lane.
Okay, so I know I've definitely got some images for this one.
Mm-hmm.
So this site we've seen actually several times before with various sort of kind of incarnations of schemes. So this is existing, and if you click forward again, Mim, you can see here sort of the empty space to the left-hand side of the property. And if you click forward again, it's just sort of highlighting that this is a rather sort of kind of strange L shape, sort of kind of it's like crescent shaped property with its frontage on the corner as opposed to sort of the normal street scene frontage. And then if you just click forward again, Mim, which shows the street scene of the existing, and then you click forward again and it shows the street scene of the proposed. So this proposal differs from the previously approved scheme. This proposal is presenting a more modern style with the introduction of more glass panels and different materials. The footprint sits more square on the plot than the existing and follows a more standard flow of street scene. Ample space around the property to afford more amenity to the neighbouring properties. This is from the previously approved scheme. The ridge height is increasing by approximately 1 metre from the existing, although unduly bearing, so it should be actually although not unduly bearing, although not unduly overbearing on neighbouring properties. Feel the house is in keeping with the street scene. Parking for 4 cars, no trees are proposed for removal, consider no objection. So if you click forward again, Mim, I think I have actually got,
there.
there's the block plan. So you can see to the left sort of where the existing property sort of hugs that boundary line with the neighbour, and then what they're proposing to do now is a much more uniform style with space around. Okay,
Thank you.
That's it, yeah.
Any comments? Personally, I think it's an improvement on what's there now, but any comments?
No, just to agree with you.
Yes. Okay, so we'll go with no objection.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's unanimous.
Well, that finishes item 6. So if we can move on to agenda item 7, which is to consider the draft response to the questions we've been asked on the development of the public hall site. I take it everybody's had a chance to look at the draft and see. I don't know if everybody put their input into it or not, but do I have any comments, or are we happy to go with what's been written? John?
Only one comment. On page 26, where we talk about imaginative community uses, oddly, I think this was my words, I think that I'm concerned that only referring to flexible office space might encourage the local planning authority to only use that commercial space for that. Whereas I think what we're really looking for is for them to also use it for some wider community purposes, yes, as it's indicated earlier above that. And I just don't want to trap ourselves into them saying, well, you were happy with just daytime officers, when I think we'd ideally look for some other kind of community space. I don't know. I mean, I suggested maybe pop-ups for local artisans, and maybe a daytime cafe for local charities. I don't know. I mean, we don't have to be that specific. I just didn't want to trap ourselves. I know that there's a need to be commercial here, but I just didn't want to trap ourselves with the office space.
Well, what we could add, take out where the full stop is at home, could add in an extra word such as flexible office space, etc., and community space.
Yeah, just something so we're not trapped. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we would be. It has to come up. No. Obviously, it has to come up. But are people happy that we add in there the words "and community space"?
Community. I think use the extra word "use." So community use space. Yeah.
Community space. Yes. Yes. Community. Yes. 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 Good idea.
Just because this kind of works on the basis of almost like a class usage, doesn't it? It will be given a class use that's allocated to that particular element.
Matthew?
Yeah, no, it struck me that the answer to the question about parking was, I know what we're saying, but I'm not entirely sure that we're particularly clear in saying that, you know, we consider that it to be necessary that there's some form of parking. I just wondered if we could just get some kind of concluding sentence or something that goes, you know, that sort of makes the point more effectively. Because just at the moment we sort of said a lot of things that imply it without ever actually saying that we would prefer an option that included parking.
Well, perhaps, I don't know, we could put in perhaps something like where it says, but not providing this amenity, but perhaps we could put in something like, add in something there that nonetheless, failure to provide, or something along the lines of failure to provide parking on the site would create something, put those words in rather than not providing, but say failure to provide.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that works.
Yeah, Paul de Court, that is, just so we all.
Yeah, I was going to come in on something else, but now we mentioned the parking, I do need to come in. I totally agree that we should be saying that parking is a requirement. If this actually was coming to us as a private development in this meeting, we'd be saying there's
Refuse.
single,
Yes, we'd
1 and 2
refuse
bedroom
it.
flats, single parking space. Now we'd look at the sustainable element, obviously near the station and near the high street, but we would be considering that it's not unreasonable to expect everyone to have one car.
Not quite. Yes.
And therefore, we've already got in here in the middle, but not providing this amenity would create the risk of on-street parking. So I'm not disagreeing with Matt. I'm where we need to put it, but I think we just need to be clear that it isn't a preference. We've been given 2 options and we prefer it. We think it's, as close to a necessity as we're allowed to.
Yes.
Stay.
Actually, yes. In fact, rather than say failure to provide, what I suggest we might suggest is put in, but not providing this amenity would create additional on-street parking, not the risk of it would. It's not a risk, it's an actuality.
Yes. Because it's something like 24 plots. So there would be, if there was no, I think they were providing only 6 spaces on the other one. You'd have to assume that 18 other people bought property without a car. I just don't think that's going to happen.
No, I would say, in fact, change my previous word, and yes, I would suggest we say, yes, take out would create the risk, take out risk and say would create additional on-street parking.
Mm-hmm.
Nigel?
Should we not, I'd even be more positive, I'd say, should we not say something to the effect that it is essential that the private residential element has parking included? I'd be that positive. Because from a commercial point of view, unless they have parking with the private residential, it'll be a disaster.
Yes.
I'd be positive, it is essential that the private residential accommodation has parking.
Well, I would say then, perhaps, it's pity what other people think. If looking at when we've got to the spaces at street level, do not effectively mitigate these issues, and perhaps add on there, and it is essential that on-site parking is provided.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Paul Cousin.
Yeah, I agree with what's just been said. And I was going to say it's obviously about 1/3 of this is affordable housing as well. But you could argue, I think you could argue that those residents equally are just as likely to have cars.
Well, exactly, yes.
So it's not just I don't know how the terminology, not necessarily just the private residential, the whole development.
Well, I don't think within this response we need to go into that. I think we just have to say that it is, yes. And we could say, we could say, if you like, it is essential, these issues, after issues, and then say, if people like, we could add in, it is unrealistic to think that residents will not have cars, and therefore on-site parking is essential. Because it's just not going to happen, is it? Right. Any other comments?
Are we actually? We're not. Sorry, it was similar. I was going to. Are we not? There's nowhere. Are we being asked about our views about the design? This is all kind of. I don't know. Well, I don't know. It's not nowhere discussed is the actual design. What we think of it. Does it fit in with the street scene, for example? Is that something that we're being asked, or is that not?
I don't think that at this stage that they're actually going out to ask for that. This is almost like the outline application stage, I believe.
Okay, fine.
So I think that the designs that were shared at the council were more really sort of kind of an artist impression as opposed to the fixed design and style, I believe.
Yeah, Pip.
It does mention ESD9, which is key views. So doesn't that cover the design? Because it's sort of saying the view of the building is impacting on one of the key views of Harpenden. So that sort of is the design, isn't it?
Yes, which is under the first question.
Yeah.
Well, we could add on, if people like, on to a response for the first question, the last paragraph, where it's stated in particular it needs to be of high quality design, consider local character and heritage, not be overbearing, and maintain the openness of the views. Do people want to add in there, and there is concern on the available, I don't know what you want to say, available, but impression sketches, however you want to put it, of views that the designers proposed could conflict with this. Does people want to put something in on those lines?
Sorry, I'm not voting. I'm just wanted to speak.
Yes, I realise that, Paul. Yeah, far away.
I mean, I have looked at the artist's impressions, and I accept they're not a fully laid up plan.
Yes.
They have tackled one design issue already. That's the internal design of a walkway through the middle, which pretty much everyone at the meeting, maybe everyone at the meeting, thought was an improvement in the look, the internal look, the look for the residents, the people really
Yes.
close. And both of the schemes that I saw, again as artist impressions, didn't create a problem with openness of the view. I mean, I don't think there's any problem with saying we're looking for that, because we don't want to be caught out in the final design. But I didn't quite agree that there's currently a problem from anything I've seen. It's actually, I found it surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, that's a fair word. It's relatively attractive in terms of what has been planned, compared to one or two other buildings that are quite close to it.
Well, I think I think the answer sort of covers that, doesn't it? Gives it, if you like, it gives us an option. Matthew?
I'm just having a thought on the comments we've made about use for offices on Arden Grove and presumably also on the commercial element. Given I've parked on Arden Grove a couple of times this week just because there's been no parking anywhere else I've been able to find. And parking up there is not easy, and presumably offices would require large numbers of cars, assuming people are commuting in or from other parts of town. Do we want to say offices specifically, or do we want to talk about other forms of commercial use in the abstract sense? Because I'm just thinking about it. I'm not sure that we necessarily want to encourage offices per se on this site. Flexible working is a slightly different ballgame, but places where you've got.
Well, I don't mind if we suggest we put it, instead of flexible office space, flexible working space.
Yeah, I just, if I could just chip in, I don't mind that, because it's broader, but I think the intention was there, as written, was that we would be trying to reduce the amount of commuting, and
flexible office space would be part of that.
Having is that people can walk or cycle to that place rather than other uses where people, you can think of other parts of the town, particularly say the shops, where people do have to drive in because they work from considerable distance away from Harpenden.
Well, all right, we can compromise and say such as flexible office or other working space. Yes, I mean, I think the idea is if you do have, as you say, we have working space, particularly with the sort of changes we're seeing in working patterns, that people maybe have, you know, offices to use when they need to. Paul Cousin.
Thank you, Chair. Do we have the picture of the artist's impression?
Yes, I think what we don't want to do is get bogged down in detail before we have any detail.
Okay, well, I mean,
that's fine. I'm just saying it's a generically.
Yeah. Okay, so my comment is around overbearing and views. And if people can picture the design, at the left-hand side of the building, if people know where the front of the public hall is now, there's a grassed area where you can turn around, and there are 4 parking spaces just to the left there, 2 disabled ones, quite near the pub, near the Hop and Arms, and that's all. There are all trees there, and to me that provides quite a nice barrier from the common to the actual start of the building, if you like, because you've got some grassed area and quite a lot of trees. And this design built on the left-hand side is going to be built all over those spaces, right up to the nice sort of period house. I can't remember what it's called. Number 2.
It is number 2 South
the little
Down
house
Road.
just
Number 2
opposite-
South Down Road.
Yeah, the little house just opposite the pub, the Hop and Arms. So whereas I think that is overbearing, because you're going to go straight from all the grass of the common to quite a big building, where at the moment it's just grass and trees. So that's just my comment. I feel that straight onto the common is a little bit overbearing, whereas now it's as I say, it's trees and grass effectively. But I fed that back. I think I sent an email to Carl and possibly you as officers.
Yes, I mean, we've sort of
Without
covered
saying
that.
it's a bit difficult, but it is. Yeah, I feel that is the overbearing bit. I mean, it's not a bad design. I agree.
I mean, I think we've sort of covered that, haven't we, by saying not be overbearing and maintain the openness of the view.
Okay, yeah, fine.
I mean, it's difficult because it's not, because to look at any of these things, really, I suppose a detailed response will have to come when we've actually got actual plans to look at, rather than just a schematic artist's impression.
Okay, so obviously there's been some suggested changes there that I will incorporate, and then they'll be included as part of the minutes for this, and then they will be sent off to the district council for
Yes, I don't know whether
as a
they
formal
will
response.
go through. They probably need to be sent to the mayor again as well, don't they, to see?
Probably, yes, but I think it will probably. Are you wanting me to share them with the mayor before they get included with the minutes for this meeting?
Well, probably they should be shared with the mayor before they're sent off to the district.
Okay.
I think we'll check with the town clerk, but my feeling is that, I mean, we obviously had the mayor's input into this.
We did,
and I think it should be shared with the mayor, yes, before being sent off. Okay, so are we and probably would it be an idea if we had if you just circulated again to the committee just so we could have a look?
Absolutely, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Okay, so are we okay on that? So are we okay on that? Any other comments or agenda item 8, planning inspectorate appeal decisions? Well, I think you will note the White Horse appeal was very comprehensively dismissed by the planning inspectorate, who more or less has said, go away and think again when you're dealing with a listed building.
Yeah. And also, interestingly, they've refused or dismissed the Red Cow application.
And they've dismissed the Red Cow as well. I was going to come on to that. Has also been dismissed. So that's interesting.
Which is good because it actually follows in line with what the town council's views were on both of these applications.
Yes, it's always gratifying when the planning inspectorate agrees with us.
Very interesting on that Red Cow one, the issue, the legality that just because you've sold land
Yes.
to another company and you're not, who aren't deemed to use it as a car park, they went back and said, has the pub still functioning? The pub may still need a car park. And when we think of all our private house decisions where we talk about changes that will have an impact on parking provision, I was pleased to see
Yes.
that was considered.
That was considered.
Whatever,
Yes, exactly. Because they're quite right. I mean, yes, a public house is going to need parking provision, isn't it? Whichever way you hack it. Then item 9 is the tree works, which is just for noting. Item 10 is tree works and technical applications. And then item 11 is the district council weekly list of decisions, again for noting. And then finally, the date of the next meeting is the 17th of November. I can't believe we're going to be the next one. We're going to be in the middle of November, where I ask myself, has the year gone?
And the one after that will be the last one before Christmas, Rosemary.
I know. So I don't know what the time. What is the time? It's 8. I make it 8:37. Call the meeting to a close. Thank you everybody for your input, and we'll see everybody at the next planning meeting on the 17th. And thank you, Mim and Heather.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good
then.
night.
Bye.
Good night.